Congratulations on the purchase of your new Sea-Doo Rxtx 325. I'm going to take a second and I'd like to run through the unit with you. This particular model, quite frankly, has a lot going on. This is at Sea-Doo's top of their line, so almost every single feature except for a few that can be found on the Limited is present here on the RXT. So we're going to start with the basics, kind of walk through it a little bit. I'm going to take my time. I'm not going to try to do a YouTube short, and we should actually run through some stuff. Now, with that being said, I'm going to encourage that you read your owner's manual. I don't know everything. I sell multiple products. I know this unit very well, but even I access the owner's manual. So before I get everybody out there with the critics, be like, oh, you missed this, or you didn't do this, you didn't call that the right name. Read your owner's manual. And I can't emphasize it enough. I always make the joke, instead of taking your phone to the bathroom, take your owner's manual instead. All right? They do have a great card that comes along with all of their units, a little cheat card for the 10.25 gauge that comes with the QR code on it too. And then they also talk about the BRP Go app and then some of the basic handlebar controls that we're going to cover today. It's a nice reference point. If you did purchase it, look for this card, go back, and you can, this is just a quick memory jog for some of the stuff we'll talk about today. This particular model is also equipped with IBR, which stands for Intelligent Braking in Reverse. It gives you instructions on how to use it, and it also talks about how it works, operates as a brake too on there. And then probably most importantly is the manufacturer and the dealers are fighting for your right to ride every day on the water. So I can't emphasize to you enough that when you're out there, or you let a friend borrow your unit or whatever, we need to know the basic operations, the rules of the road, and let's respect everybody else that's out there trying to enjoy their day on the lake also. It's not all about you, so let's be mindful of that, and that's a little bit what it talks about, and it gives you a My Commitments thing to do that. Let's go through some of the features of this amazing machine, okay? I'm going to start out with the desk cord, all right? You could get more than one of these cords programmed, but in order to do it, you actually physically have to come to the dealership. We have to plug into it with the laptop, and then we have to program a second key for you. You can also get a learning key where you could limit the speed. So you can turn the speed down and we can set the speed inside of the computer. We'll obviously ask you what you're looking for, and then we can set it accordingly to do it. This piece right here, it should be connected to you at all time because it's not only your key, but it works as a tether also. So if for some reason you're ever ejected from the machine, you want to make sure that this is attached to you so it kills the motor. I always make the joke, I made a corny little rhyme up. I said, when in doubt, pull the tether out, because that's going to kill everything and the unit goes, you know, so you're not panicking or you're in a panic situation, throttle sticks, I don't know. This is your safety, so you just pull it out. This piece here plugs onto the desk post. This is a radio frequency that's sent in here that's going to allow your watercraft to start. Only your desk key can start your unit. You can't borrow a buddy's and then plug the desk key in. It's not going to start the unit up. All right, I'm going to go under the hatch. So on an RXTX, to be able to release the hatch for the storage compartment, you have these two levers that are right here. So you'll pull, and then you'll lift up from there. Inside the storage compartment, it's big and cavernous, and the nice part about this one is that the whole hood goes up. So if you're sitting on the unit, you're not trying to reach over the handlebars to get into your storage unit. Proper safety equipment is important. If you purchased your watercraft from Nielsen Enterprises, we actually give you a list of everything that you'll need to make yourself legal before you ever go to the water. But we'll cover it on a high level for right now. You'd always have to have a fire extinguisher. Fire extinguisher holder goes right here. The fire extinguisher does not come from the factory. Fire extinguishers are purchased separately, and usually we'll just attach them to your deal. A safety kit. Inside the safety kit, Sea-Doo has a safety kit. It acts as a bailing. It has a tow rope to it, a whistle, and a waterproof flashlight. So a safety kit is also highly encouraged by the United States Coast Guard in order to be able to do that. You should have a whistle or some type of noise-making device that's attached to you at all times for distress calls. And oh, that also reminds me, pretty important, if you don't know the rules of the water, take a boating safety course. Every state offers something online. It's going to make your experience better, and it's going to make it a lot safer for everybody, including the people that you're out enjoying the lake with, if you know the common rules of the road. In here, in the storage container, they offer additional accessories that you can get. They make a divider net that can go in here. It's 3 screws attached. That's an accessory you can add. They have bags that clip in and out. They go onto these clips right here. And if your boat's down or it's down by the water, you can take and you can buy this bag, load everything up, take it from your house, clip it into your watercraft. When you're done riding at the end of the day, you can pull that bag out and carry all your stuff back up to the house, and it doesn't sit inside here. All right. Fuel fill is under the hood. Okay, it's right here. I'm going to talk about something, and we're going to get to it right now. I'm going to jump right into it, Mike. So follow me over here. I've had people send their friends to go put gas in their watercraft. This cap back here is meant for one thing and one thing only, and I'll show you. Retractable ski pylon as an accessory. You can see it's round on the bottom and it's round in here. And BRP clearly states that this is not a fuel opening for putting gas in. The gas is under the hood. But if you send somebody to go get gas, I just recently had somebody pump 40 gallons of gas into their hull because they thought that that was the fuel port. So you have to pay attention to warning labels and stickers and stuff that are on the unit to make sure. And also another important thing, you are your captain of your own boat. You are responsible for making sure everybody is safe, that they know where all the controls are, that they know the proper safety equipment that they need, and that they know where to put gas into a unit. You, the owner, after reading your owner's manual and receiving instruction from your dealer, are the captain of your own vessel. Nobody else is responsible for actions after that. This particular model operates on premium gas. That's what the manufacturer recommendation is in order to receive maximum capacity out of the 325 horsepower motor supercharged. It is E10 only. You can't use E15. If you use E15s, that'll add to a whole litany of problems. And I'm also going to say one other thing too. As I'm talking about this, they do put that right by the fuel fill. The manufacturer does their due diligence to make sure that you're well educated on everything that you need to know out there. QR code, E10 only, but the people that come along and peel all their warning labels off their unit because they don't like the way they look, it's really not a good idea because now you're liable. You're the person who removed all the stuff and all the stickers, and really, there's no recourse after that. Sorry, can't help you if there's a warranty problem. Now, hatch, glove box, okay? The glove box opens up. Inside of here, it gives you a small storage area because you have the really big one under the hood, but it gives you a place to put your cell phone. Your cell phone will slide right into here. They come with a normal little foam pad that you can put your phone into and slide in there. And then it has a plug for USB to your phone. That is, so inside, we'll talk about that. This will not only charge your phone, but inside of this gauge, there's 2 map options. They have an app for the phone. It's called Navigation with BRP Go. So you can download this app, you'll set up an account, and when your phone is plugged in, it is the most accurate map that BRP or Sea-Doo offers to display up on the gauge. The gauge itself also has its own mapping system in it, but the BRP Go app is the best app for that. So you click in, and that is watertight, water sealed. It also talks about here, again, refer to the operator's guide for recommendations on how to use the glove box. I heard my camera guy chuckle a little bit, but hey, I told you I was going to do a slow, detailed run through on this unit, okay? Let's go up into some of the controls here for a second, then we'll go over the warning stickers. But this unit is equipped with tilt steering, so you can adjust the steering up and down. The gauge will move with it, if you notice that, Mike, if you could swing around. When I pull back and I pull down on the handlebars, the gauge moves with that. So that way you're not moving the handlebars up in the way of the actual gauge itself. Right here is your start-stop button. So it's an integrated start-stop button. So the same button starts it and the same button stops it. Why is that? That way you're never confused. Once again, if you're going to shut the unit off, you're not accidentally re-hitting the start button and then damaging your start motor. Plus, from a safety standpoint, you always know where to go, where to turn it on, and where to turn it off. I'm going to wake up the gauge. So we wake up the gauge, And this is the BRP new 10.25 gauge. They've had it on their snowmobiles now for a while, but now they've actually gone out and put it onto their watercraft. They actually started with it last year on the GTX Limited, and they expanded it out to the line. I'm going to sit on the unit so that way even I can see what I'm doing better. So the gauge has multiple functions to it. You can control the gauge from the actual keypads on the handlebars. You can control the gauge from touching. It's a touch screen also. And then inside of here are different features. We're going to start by touching the screen. So this is the home screen on the gauge. You can see you have fuel, your bucket position, the rear bucket in the back if you're neutral, forward, or reverse, the voltage on the battery, an hour meter, engine miles per hour, and then engine RPM. And then over here up and down is your trim gauge. Comes with a compass. Oh, you want to change your compass? You hold in on the gauge, distance to empty. Oh, that's a good stat. What's my next stat? Time to empty, 217 minutes. Hold it again, and it shuts it off. Now, if you were to add a depth finder to this, it will also display in the center of the gauge on that part right there in the middle, and that would be another selection by holding your thumb there in order to be able to do that. It tells you your Bluetooth connectivity, clock, volume. So I'm going to slide over here for a second, and right now I have media connected, and this is where you would connect a device. Down here, there's these 4 squares in the corner. You touch those, and it's media, stats, vehicle, preferences, and navigation. If I go to navigation, remember what I told you? It's telling you, do you want to use the built-in GPS, or do you want to make sure that you downloaded, installed, and open your iPhone and connected the USB cable to your phone, or do you want to use the BRP Go app? So that's part of the selection that they'll have in there for you. If we go to the vehicle, this is different settings for engine mode and the variable trim system. You're not going to make your adjustments through there, but this is in the settings screen where you would do that. Let me jump back here for a sec because I want to be crystal clear on that. You can go into preferences. In here, this is kind of where you'll do your adjustments to your gauge. Audio, display, your Bluetooth, this is where you'll connect in. See here, here's phone. It says if phone's not connected, you'll hit there, and then you'll hit add a new device, and then you'll pair with the phone. Over here is Wi-Fi. You want to add a Wi-Fi and put your gauge on a Wi-Fi network. It can be a cell phone network, or if you have a garage at home, you want to put it on a network because you can actually, the gauge can actually update itself. Last year with GTX Limiteds, we were having a problem with the volume on the speakers. There was an update available. If you did the update in your gauge, all of a sudden the speakers were louder so that you could hear them better on the unit. And that was part of the gauge that was restricting them from the models that didn't have the 10.25 gauge. Also in here is general. You have units, maybe you're into metrics and you want to change it over. Language, date and time. Here's your software updates. You could go in and look, but right now I don't have any Wi-Fi hooked up to this unit because it's a showroom model, but that's where you would check for that. And then you can restore to factory settings. And then in here is this diagram they're showing you right here. The switcher is right up here on your handlebar. So is the switcher right here. You can add and subtract stuff, and you can change the order. If you want to move the media up and then gauges and navigation, I'll show you how that works in a second. And then if you want to add the stats screen to it, you can add the stats screen. So let's pop it in there and do that. When I hit this button here, after I've made the adjustments in the preferences, hit the button again, I'll do media, and then I click this, and it jumps over, or it will go faster if you click OK. So here's media, here's gauges. I push, there's your gauges, the full screen of them. And let's put our compass back on there just because it looks cool. And then navigation, I click OK, and it's asking me if I want to use the built-in GPS or the BRP Go app. And then remember, I put stats up there, click OK, and now I have my average speed, duration, and distance. So this switches through what the display is on your gauge, because if you're out riding and you want to see a different statistic, you don't want to take your hand off of anything and then you're trying to press the button and the watercraft's moving around, so you just make your selections right through here and then you choose up or down. Like I just did this, trip A, trip B, and then on my current ride, I'm cycling through what those different statistics are on the gauge. So all your selection for the gauge is done right here with my thumb at the lower part. We're gonna talk about trim next. We're gonna just move our way up on this side of the left-hand side over here. So the trim, you can see the trim gauge is right here, and then this is how you adjust your trim. VTS, variable trim system. So as you change the rear nozzle, it changes the ride of the watercraft. So imagine right here, this is your rear nozzle. So we'll say we're facing out the back. If you trim down, it pushes down on the nose of the watercraft. If you trim to 0 degrees, it levels the watercraft out. If you trim up in the back, it raises up on the nose of the watercraft. People are always like, well, why? The more boat you get out of the water, the more watercraft you get out of the water, the better top speed you're gonna do. Or say it's a very choppy day on the water, you could get the nose up. Maybe you do want your nose down. I like to get the nose up, but get the nose up so you're not taking a bunch of water over the hood and get over the waves. You're riding multiple passengers. Let's say that your 2 passengers behind you are a couple of offensive linemen that play football, and you're having a lot of porpoising. You can customize the ride by trimming down a little bit. Now, there's 2 ways to make that adjustment. You could do 1 click down, 1 click again, another click, another click, another click. And you're like, okay, Jeff, we get it. But you can also make quick adjustments. Double click, boom, see it jump to the middle. Double click, boom, now it jumped all the way up to the top. So you could do individual or double click, and it will make fast jumps between all the way down, 0 degrees, or all the way up. That's kind of nice if you want the adjustment to happen faster. You're not staring at your gauge. You know, if you double click, you could take a quick glance, I'm in the middle, double click, now you know it's all the way up. It's half the battle is you want to be scanning the lake. You don't want to be staring at your 10.25 gauge. That's why they give you the warning screen while it's up on the gauge when they first do it. Now this boat also is equipped, excuse me, with different driving modes. So, and you'll select right through here. So when I push the button, it's asking me, right now it's in normal. I want to go to sport, and then I moved up with the selector here on my thumb. Now I'll hold up again, and it will activate sport. It's not going to allow me to do sport right now because the boat's not running, but that's how you change through your different driving modes. If I hit it again, I can scroll down. I went to eco, and then you can see eco's on the gauge. Eco really restricts your fuel delivery. I mean, like, you are saving gas. You grab a handful of throttle, it accelerates very slow. It doesn't reach top speed, but it's kind of nice. If you got a ways to make it back and you're really running pretty low on fuel, you know, you want to stay out of the supercharger. Feature that you have is you have launch control. So you could go to launch control and you can turn it on, or you could do it 1 time, okay? So right now I didn't do anything with it, so it says launch control set to off. But if I turn launch control on, now the launch control's on for a day. You know, until I shut the unit back off again, the launch control's gonna stay on. You could do it just 1 time, so you have a choice. Launch control automatically trims the boat for you, allows you your best punch. You want to get there fast and accelerate fast and feel the exhilaration. Launch control is pretty amazing. Okay, on your right hand, this is also slow mode and speed limit mode. If you're under 9 miles an hour and you hit this button here, it'll automatically engage, and now you have control to speed up a little bit at low speed. Why do you want to do that? Because at low speed, in a no wake zone, you see the people doing this all the way through the no wake channel. Well, you know, there's a way to eliminate that to where you don't have to sit there and do it. So you hit the little speedo button here that looks like that, and then you can turn it up to 9 miles an hour. You got to be careful though, and know your surroundings. You know, you're not going to want to turn it up to 9 miles an hour, and if you're in a harbor, so you want to find just that good tipping point to where it's giving you just a little bit extra push till you got good control and maneuverability around other boats, but not to the point where we're making too big of a wake and offending people. Not only do you have low speed control with these buttons, but this also is speed limit mode. So say you have a thing for 52 miles an hour and you really like to go 52. You could accelerate up to 52 miles an hour, and you'll hit the speed button and it locks it in, it caps it off at 52. You could hold it wide open on the throttle, it's not gonna go over 52 miles an hour. If you want to increase to 53, you can arrow up. You want to go back to 52, you can arrow down. In order to eliminate this, you'll have to hold in on the speedo, you'll shut the engine off, and then you'll restart it again. IBR throttle. Left hand's intelligent braking and reverse. Right hand is your throttle. Every time your Sea-Doo watercraft starts, it starts in neutral. Okay, so every time that it's on. And by the way, right now, we have the checkered flag on. Turned it off. See, the checkered flag's gonna go away when I go into the screen. That's how you know that if you're in launch control or not. Okay, so the watercraft always starts in neutral. Once it starts in neutral, if you wanna move it to forward, one click on your throttle, boom. It brings the bucket up in the back. So in the back, you have a jet nozzle. So let's say the C's a jet nozzle. Then you have a bucket. And when you start the watercraft, it moves it to a neutral position, shoots the water straight down. When you grab the reverse lever, it wraps the bucket underneath and redirects the water underneath the watercraft. And when you're in forward, the bucket goes up and clears out of the way, okay? So you wanna go forward, just idle out through a no wake channel. You just click the throttle, boom, now you're idling forward. You wanna go back to neutral, click, now you're back to neutral with your left hand on the IBR, okay? You wanna go in reverse, you grab this lever, hold in, and now, it wants me to override. And now, we'll talk about that in a second. But if you hold it in reverse, I know, this is for backing up. And you'll throttle against it, and then when you release, you're back to neutral. So you have to hold this lever in order for it to stay in reverse. It will deploy the reverse bucket all the way, all right? Over 9 miles an hour, you're out running, and all of a sudden, a dog runs in front of you. No, I'm just joking, not a dog. I'm only saying that because my dog's laying on the floor over there in front of us. So, but somebody cuts you off in the water. If you grab a handful of your IBR lever and hold it, it deploys the reverse bucket. If you continue to hold it, it slowly accelerates harder and harder and harder against the reverse bucket, allowing you to slow at a faster speed. It's a great feature. Sea-Doo came out with it years ago. Yamaha has a version of it now. Kawasaki has a version of it now. It's really pretty revolutionary for the watercraft industry to be in that mode. So again, quick recap. Everything's done from up here. So it starts in neutral, click for forward, click over here to go back to neutral, hold for reverse. All those features are great to have. And then over 9 miles an hour, grab a handful, drops the reverse bucket down, throttles against it, helps you slow.
We'll be passing by, and they'll be wasting time, just
come here, I'll show you the audio system. So now I have synced my phone up with the audio system, and I'm changing the volume up and down here on the volume buttons. So while you're riding, you can increase your volume or turn the volume down. And then over here, if you want to pause it, you push in OK, and now it pauses it. So now there's no music, you want to talk to somebody, or when you want play to come back, you can touch the screen also, but while you're riding, you're not going to do that. See, I push in here, and then now I'm back to the song again. I want the next song. I can go back by pressing down. Oops, sorry. So I went back to the start of the song, and hit it again, then it goes back to the previous song. Or if you want to jump forward, you can jump forward to here, jump again. So it's here or it's over here with the volume, so you can change all the different stuff. This model is also equipped with the steering dampener for control speed, speed of the steering, when you're in the water, rougher conditions, sharpness a quarter, and then it's a very easy adjustment. You could go plus, minus, it tells you which way, if you're stiffening it or softening it, or making it less responsive. So I usually just set it right in the middle for people to adapt and get used to. Now for the magic. Take your back seat off. Get 2 buttons, 1 on each side. Push in, lift up. Seat comes back. Latch right here. Lift the seat off. This is a 325 horsepower, 3-cylinder, electronically fuel injected badass machine. It has a closed loop cooling system. So the coolant from this bottle is what cools your engine, all right? So the engine takes and pumps the coolant through the ride plate in the back, which acts as a heat exchanger, comes back up and cools the engine. Now underneath this cover here, if we really had to work on your unit and get serious, we would take all these bolts out, all these different pieces, and this whole cover lifts off, and then we can see your whole exhaust manifold. The exhaust manifold is still cooled by the lake. That comes from your intake grate, which is located directly at the bottom of the boat about right here. Sucks the water in, shoots the jet out the back. But there's a bypass line that comes up and comes off and cools the exhaust. So the unit, in order to cool properly, still needs to be in the lake. If you run it out of the water, you don't want to run it out of the water for more than 10 or 15 seconds at a time. Otherwise, you're going to get an overheat code. And if you get an overheat code, you could put it in a limp mode. And if you did it even longer than that, then you can melt hoses in your exhaust. And then you'd spring a leak, and then you'd sink. And then you're going to come and visit us because we're going to have to get all the water out of your system. All right? I pulled the positive terminal off the battery already just so you can see, but down here is where the battery's located on it. It is really critically important to make sure that your battery is always at a full charge. The battery needs to be at a full charge in order for all the different computers and everything to work on your watercraft. You got to keep the batteries up on these, because if the battery levels start to get low, you're going to get a bunch of weird codes in the watercraft. You're going to drive in to here to us to fix your unit, and then we're going to be charging your battery for you, and that's it. So if it sits for an extended period of time, 2-3 months, you're probably going to have to put a charge on the battery, a slow trickle charge. We use no-code chargers around here. We found that those are the most successful ones for us. The other thing is too, there is no blower on your engine compartment. Not a bad idea to pop the seats, let it air out, especially if it's sat here for an extended period of time, out in the sunlight. You know, just for safety purpose, it's a good idea to do that. And then furthermore, the oil is right here, the oil dipstick. So there is a particular procedure on checking your oil found in the owner's manual. Ultimately, at the end of the day, they like to have a little heat in the engine to be able to get an accurate oil reading for it. In order to change your oil, Sea-Doo does sell oil change kits. We do like to do them right here at the dealership. Just make sure that whatever you take out is what you put back in. You don't want to overfill it on oil. Otherwise, that leads to a whole nother series of problems. To put your seat on, make sure the front piece goes in. And from the Jeff Schoolage of Stupidity, always make sure your seat's latched on all the way. Otherwise, you lose it on the highway, and yeah, they're not cheap. Scoops in right here. And make sure you latch down and give it a little tug when you're all said and done. On the back here, it has a very large reboarding platform on the back, and there's multiple accessories that work for Sea-Doo. So with their Lynx accessories, you take and these, click these up, and then you have, I actually have one over here. This is a stackable system, so it gives you an additional gas caddy. So you have the gas caddy, the Lynx attachments to it, and then it also gives you the 5.3 gallon rigid cooler. This is actually a new one. It's just really easy to take on and off. It scoops into that side, and then there's a latch piece over here on this side. Then there's a Lynx piece over here, and then it latches into place. Then it has a little rubber strap, especially for the gas caddy, to hold it in place. We already talked about the wake pylon attachment. There it is again there, sitting on the floor. That just screws into the back. Some of the accessories you have to, some will fit. They make actually an accessory piece that bolts on the back of your watercraft so that you can add more accessories based on just what the offering is here. So it's really up to you. Now, the GTX Limited comes with the reboarding ladder on the back right here. The Rxtx 325, you have to add it on the back of the Rxtx 325. So if you were looking for a little bit easier way to get back on, we can add a reboarding ladder. They're very easy to do. On the back of the watercraft here, you have two drain plugs. You have a drain plug here, and then there's a drain plug there. This kind of goes back to what we talked about before. We've had people pick up and their drain plug was taken out because there was water in the engine compartment. It is your responsibility to make sure your drain plug goes back in before you launch your unit. It's just, you have to make sure that everything's secure before you put it in the water and do it. And then this here is a flush kit adapter. Now you could screw the hose in here. It is threaded. BRP does offer an adapter piece that you can add to that also if you're in salt water and you have to flush it out all the time. Fresh water, you know, we don't have to flush as much here. If you were getting an overheat signal, it wouldn't be a bad idea. In order to flush it, please reference your owner's manual. The engine has to be on if you're running water into the motor. You never want to walk away with the water running and the engine off. You could backfill and flood into the engine, okay? And then you'll have water inside your motor. Okay, the other thing that's really important too, this is meant to be open. This isn't a drain plug. I get phone calls all the time saying they're missing a drain plug, and you're not missing a drain plug out of there. And what you don't want to plug it either, because otherwise it could cause the unit to overheat. So that's why that's strictly meant for running it out of the water and attaching a garden hose to it. Next. If the boat capsizes or turns upside down in the water, they even put the sticker on upside down for you, showing you how to right the boat and which direction to go. So they want you to go in a clockwise version, okay? So that's to prevent the possible ingestion of water running through the air box down into the motor. So beware of that and make sure you roll it in the right direction. Let's talk warning stickers. Every Sea-Doo watercraft has warning labels on it up on the glove box here. These are the big hitters, okay? These are the ones that they want you to make sure. The manufacturers recommend 16 and older. That's not every state law, but that's what the manufacturer recommends. Keeping your head on a swivel. You know, myself included, it's very easy to get tunnel vision when you're riding your watercraft because they're so fun and small and maneuverable. But the guy in the 28-foot boat can't turn like you can. So you gotta be looking over your shoulders at all times. The unit is equipped with mirrors. Definitely make sure you shoulder check. Definitely make sure you know the rules of the road. Look at this. They talk about reading your operator's guide and making sure that you understand it. They have a QR code to watch a safety video. These are all things that are really good. I know it's 90 degrees out, you just bought your new watercraft and you're thinking, man, I gotta hit the lake now. I know everything. I rented these in Mexico. Not a 325, you didn't. So make sure you take time to learn your craft because there's a lot going on here. The one in Mexico is this poor clapped out machine that 700 people have ridden that goes 40 miles an hour at best because the impellers are all damaged on them. So make sure you're paying attention to what you're doing. Rider safety. One of the most important things that you could possibly do for everybody's safety is the proper gear and to do it. Make sure that you're aware, make sure that you're cognizant of your passengers, but the proper safety gear such as neoprene bottoms, a good U.S. Coast Guard approved life jacket, something on your feet is a good idea too because when you jump off the unit you never know what's under the water. Some of those are just some of the best practices you can do. So make sure you read your warnings labels. Don't peel them off because you don't like the way it looks. This is important for the next person that jumps on your unit that might need to know something about it that frankly they didn't know. So now that you're out on the water and you're ready to go, there's all different water conditions, right? Different lake levels, there's different bodies of water that have different characteristics. So sometimes even asking around at the launch ramp, hey, is there anything I should know about this body of water that I'm about to launch into? Just having general conversation. For us, we have a series of lakes that are right by it, and people are more than willing to share the do's and don'ts and be careful over their information. You know, just getting to know everybody before you do it. But with that being said, this is a 325 horsepower vacuum cleaner, okay? You grab a handful of that throttle, and if there's a rock on the bottom of the lake, it's gonna pick it up. So I always give everybody, nobody's out there with the tape measure, right? Measuring how deep the water is. So based whether or not what your overall height is, if you're 5'5" to 6'2", I always say knee deep to waist deep water before you accelerate away. If you know the water's a little shallow, you wanna idle to where you know that it's safe to be able to accelerate, because once it gets up inside the pump, once that jet nozzle or once that impeller sucks it up into the pump, and once it goes in there, it's only got one place to go, and that's through your stainless steel impeller. So we definitely want to make sure that we're careful of that. If you're pulling a tuber or skier, not a lot of pulling usually with Rxtx 325s, but if you are, you want to make sure you don't run over the rope. I'm not going to lie, every Sea-Doo dealer out there is going to agree with me on it. It's a big business. pulling your ropes out of your intake grates. You're not the only person that would do it, so I'm warning you about it now. Make sure that the rope is out of the way before you drive over the top of it, because it could wrap around your shaft. Okay, real quick, we talked about the 10.25 gauge. They do offer a screen protector for the 10.25 gauge, kind of like a lot like your phone. That's really easy to get. Okay, mooring your watercraft. All right, when you're mooring your watercraft, they offer a bungee rope or they offer the traditional mooring line, but this is actually a tie-off point right here on the side of the watercraft, and then you have a D-ring at the back of the boat that you could tie off to with that. BRP also came out with this year. It's a pretty nice piece. It's a spike anchor. I'm not a big fan of the claw, and the one thing I like about it is it has a bag holder, and this is like a polycarbonate plastic, and it has the rope attached right to it. I think that this is a nice piece for inside the watercraft. I'm not gonna lie, it's not cheap, but I've had a couple people buy them and they do like them a lot. Sea-Doo does also offer a bumper system that you can install. You do need a bracket that we install as the dealer right here at the dealership. If you're brave and install your own, you got to screw into your hull, so you might want your dealer to do it. And then that little piece clips into there like so, locks into place, and then it sits on the side and provides you with some protection. In closing, congratulations. If you did purchase your new 325 Rxtx, it's a fantastic machine. I have to tell you that if you bought your watercraft from us or not, I've been here for our dealership's been here for 57 years. I've worked here for 35. We take a lot of pride in not just being a dealer, but also being enthusiasts of the sport ourselves. Call with any questions anytime. And we don't always know the answer, but we'll go find it for you. So have fun and be safe.